Hey, this is Mike Prill from the Digital Transformation Project team, and in this video I want to do an overview of Microsoft Dynamics and how we're using it as part of our enterprise management system. So as part of phase one of the system, when we were calling it the volunteer management system, we used something called Microsoft Dynamics, as well as what they call the classic interface, which is what you see here, which had a upper navigational menu. It had long forms that you would have to scroll forever for, etc. As part of the enterprise management system, which is the updated name for the VMS, and as part of the rollout for phase two, Team Rubicon will now be using something called the unified interface, which has a left side navigational menu, and instead of scrolling long ways, now we have sideways different tabs for all the different sections of the forms that we have. So the first thing I want to say is nobody should panic. What you should know is that any changes, anything that you've done in the classic interface, for example, if I go change this chainsaw event and then refresh it in the unified interface, we'll note that in that case I took away some text. First of all, the pages load about twice as fast, but also that text is gone here as well because it's the same database in the background. It's just a different look and feel for the data that's actually in the database. So if we start at the top, you'll notice that we have the same type of breadcrumb system, and this allows people to kind of go back and forth into different sections of the EMS. We still have a global search button, so I can search for pretty much anything across all the different entities just by clicking here and looking for whatever I'm looking for. And then we can skip these three buttons because it's not something that Team Rubicon utilizes. It's just part of the out of the box feature set that Dynamics has. But this is still a very important button for advanced find that we used a lot in phase one, that we're definitely going to use a lot in phase two as well. This is our gateway as kind of an ad hoc report builder into all the information that exists in the database. So there are a few other videos out there on advanced find. I highly recommend that you check those out. Down the left-hand side, we now have a new navigational menu that's always present, so you don't have to go select it to see it. And we've clustered the different entities that you see here together a little bit better into groups that people use more often. So at the top here, if you ever need to get back to what you have deemed to be your home page, you can just hit this home button. All the 10 most recent things that you've looked at will be under your recent. And you can also pin these as well. So if you see this icon on the left hand side here, let's say that I like to go to this Northeast event view a lot, I can pin that, and then now it'll show up in my pinned section. So Northeast events or this chainsaw class, whatever you go to a lot, you can go ahead and pin that if you'd like. So we have all your activities, dashboards, events, and registrations all in one spot here. We've got contacts, documents, skills, experiences, TR qualifications. This is all grouped up together. All the new operational planning stuff, all the mobilization stuff that we've been building, everything's in here, hopefully a little bit easier at your fingertips. In addition, we also have some other sections down here. For example, the marketing section does the same thing where it clusters all the different marketing related things over here on the left hand side so that the marketing related people can get there very quickly. And we also have, for the master list editors and regional staff and people that need to get into it a lot, we have a number of the things that used to show up under settings, now all in the same place here as well. But for most people that are watching this, you're probably going to live primarily in the volunteer management section. So that's the left-hand side menu. In the main screen here, if we go back out to something like events, we'll see that we still have an overall grouping of views, and a view is simply what you see right here, this collection, this grid, a collection of different events in this case, as well as the different columns related to those events, just so that you can have a high-level view of the information that's in the database without having to click down into each individual record. So we have a number of system views by default that are there for everybody, and we've added a number of those as part of EMS Phase 2, like operational stuff. But you also have the ability to have what's called My Views or a personal view, which are all these ones down here. And you can see I've got a lot because these are ones that I've created or that other people have created and shared with me. So as you find yourself on a VMS team, it's very likely that that team will have specific views shared for it, just so that everybody in that team is working from the same page. So In phase 2, if you want to create your own personal view, the process has changed a tiny bit. And so let me demonstrate it for you. Let's say that I am actually a leader in South Central, because right now I'm looking at a list of all the events nationwide, but really maybe I only care about the ones in South Central. The first step is to create a filter and get down specifically to the South Central events. So I'm going to hit this filter button, and we have a lot of options here. And in this case, I'm going to say equals, and then put in the text of South Central. And we can see we just want it to match one of these other things that already exists. And when I hit apply, now it's going to limit my view to just those events in that territory. And also, in this case, there also happen to be filters behind the scenes of not completed. And now that I've made a change, the next thing is to hit the Create View dropdown and say Save Filters as a new view. And this is going to allow me to rename it. And this is how things will show up under that My Views area when we're looking at the overall dropdown. So here's my new South Central events. You can see it's under my Views. And I could be anywhere else in the entire system. Doesn't really matter where I am. I could be looking at qualifications or whatever else. But if I ever want to go back to that particular view, I can either pin it and always be able to go back to it. I can go to my recent if I want to see the South Central events. Or if I happen to be in events somewhere else, if I was looking at, the ones that I've created, then I can hit my drop down and go right back to South Central events. So that's the power of a personal view. It's a huge part of this system. It'll really make your life a lot easier, but since it's changed for the unified interface, I wanted to make sure that I showed that off. Stay tuned for lots of future videos about things that are brand new, and we'll see you in the next video.